everybody, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be doing my first ever pregnancy update for this pregnancy. So in case you missed my last video, I shared with you that I am actually in fact pregnant with baby number 5, this little one. I'm 18 weeks and so I have kept this under my hat for quite some time, and I thought today I would just bring you all up to speed with how things have been going. You can expect more of this kind of content from my channel now, much like it used to be years ago. Okay, so I've written like a list of stuff to talk about, but yeah, baby number 5 on their way. When did we find out? So we found out in October. The timing was really unlikely. I had been off my period like 3 days, maybe 4, and I have so much data in my app. I know my symptoms really well. I've had regular cycles for ages now. We use basically sort of not the brand Natural Cycles, but that idea. So I'm tracking cycles and windows and fertility. So I was like, yeah, I think we should be good. And then the funny thing is that ever since that moment, as unlikely as it felt with the timing, I was like, I think I could be pregnant. And then of course we had the 2-week wait, which if you've ever tried to conceive, the 2-week wait is the most torturous part of the whole process, having to wait for that positive pregnancy test. So I spent those 2 weeks kind of in my head a lot. Was it planned? Not exactly. It had been a topic of discussion for quite some time. We had been thinking about it, talking about it. We thought we would see how we felt when Eden was 2. Eden is going to be 2 in March. So we're a bit ahead of schedule, and we hadn't necessarily said like, yeah, for sure, certain we were going to try for another one. Something about stopping at 3 felt not quite right with either of us, but I think I was too scared to say, okay, yeah, sure, let's go. And then, you know, things happened and here we are. How have I felt about it? It's been quite an emotional roller coaster, to be honest. I think any sort of semi-unplanned or completely unplanned pregnancy is always going to be quite emotional, because maybe plans that you had now kind of have to change. The fact that I was like quite happy with where my body was at, and now my body is changing. Questions like, is it fair on the 3 that we already have to have another one? Can we really handle another one? Financially, can we cope? And so there was a lot of those questions. And also for me personally, I had a lot of self-judgment coming through. I really didn't like myself particularly. I felt really ashamed, really guilty for letting this happen again, because all but one of my pregnancies have been unplanned. And so a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and also like the feeling of being that family. So we are quite a large family now, and we use Universal Credit, which is basically it's a benefit, it's a welfare thing. And I was like, oh my God, we are that family. We just keep having babies and not earning enough money. And I don't want to be that family. So it's been difficult. I feel better about it now. Although that's not to say that I don't have bad days and moments where I go through all those same. John has been great. He's been really supportive. You know, he would do whatever I wanted to do basically, and I think he's just over the moon to be having another one, because I think he really wanted it. One thing that really kind of soothes my soul is that every time we've accidentally conceived a baby, we've been really happy. So I think that has something to do with it. Symptoms. So symptoms have been pretty classic, really. I have not suffered too much with morning sickness. It kind of arrived around 7 weeks and it left pretty quickly around 9 or 10 weeks, maybe 11, but it felt like it went on forever, because it does. Mostly I just had this feeling of being nauseated food aversions, and I didn't actually throw up much. I think maybe like twice. And there was one really rough week where I was like, not only was I feeling nauseated, but I was having like tummy troubles as well. And it would only be like in the morning. And that was like 3 days, and it was horrible. But so I've been really lucky with morning sickness again. I just haven't really had it for very long, and it hasn't been very strong. And now it's really a thing of the past. Snacking often on things that I really wanted to eat was helpful, and also sucking on peppermints, which is what's helped me in the past. When I went for my first midwife appointment, they tested my urine and found that I had a UTI, so I've been dealing with that. I had a UTI with Eden as well, and it's kind of played out exactly the same way. I did warn them. I said, I think this will probably go the same way. So the last time with Eden, I had this UTI, and I had 3 courses of antibiotics almost back to back, the same type, and it didn't work. The infection kept coming back. And then at my 20-week scan, they discovered that I had hydronephrosis, which is basically where you have a fluid buildup on the kidney because the tube, the ureter that goes to the bladder, is compressed or blocked, and so it makes everything back up. And so I suspect that I have that again. They found it at my 20-week scan, and it's pretty much benign, and it's kind of a common side effect of pregnancy, but it can make you more susceptible to urinary infections. So eventually, when they found the hydronephrosis and I had my 20-week scan with Eden, they then prescribed me a different antibiotic that nipped it in the bud, and I was clear for the rest of my pregnancy. So far, I've had 2 sets of antibiotics with this. The first time they gave me the same antibiotic that I had had before, nitrofurantoin, and I said, this probably won't work. And sure enough, it didn't. Within another week or so, I was experiencing kidney pain on my right side, and I said, I think it's back. So I've just recently finished a course of amoxicillin. So far, so good. It hasn't come back, but I am also taking D-mannose regularly to help prevent any reoccurrences of the UTI, because I really don't want to just keep taking antibiotics. And I am taking a probiotic now to restore my gut microbiome, having had 2 sets of antibiotics. I have had yesterday and a little tiny bit today, like just a tiny little niggle of kidney pain on my right side. The advice has been that if it comes back before I'm on maternity care, that I should just go to the day unit and get checked out. But this week, I'm like, I'm so busy this week, I don't have time to go to the day unit if it comes back. So fingers crossed I can just get through this week, and hopefully it doesn't come back. But if it does, I kind of need it to not be this week. What's the due date? Our due date for this one is the 22nd of June. It was the 29th, judging by my last menstrual period. But when I went for my 12-week scan, they decided I was 13 weeks, which would be about right, because although I'd had my period very recently, we then conceived very soon after my period, so that makes sense. Either his little guys live forever, or I ovulated early, or I'm just incredibly hospitable and like, yeah, come on in guys, like just make yourselves at home. The egg will be here shortly, and yeah, just hang tight. I think probably what it is I must have had the most short follicular phase I've ever had, and I ovulated early, despite having just come off my period. I can only assume that the universe wants us to have this baby. This leads me to my next topic, mode of delivery. I initially said I wanted an elective cesarean because I've had 3 previous cesareans now, all of them unplanned. Yeah, all of them unplanned. I start to forget now. I did try and VBAC with Eden. I was not very well supported by the NHS, and because I went over my due date, things got not for her, like physically we were fine, her and I were fine, but the psychology of it all, the psychological warfare used by NHS consultants to persuade me to have an unplanned cesarean was so traumatizing and so difficult for me to recover from that I immediately said, I don't want to do that again and I'll just have an elective. This whole topic could get quite detailed, and I think I might even do a separate video about it. In the last 2 days or so, I've been starting to think about VBAC again. Even though I think that my odds of success are incredibly low, I have this feeling in my gut that I would regret not just giving it one more try. But it's a very touchy subject for me, so as I said, another video, another time, I think. So I am under consultant care again. I was assigned the same consultant as I had with Eden, and I was actually kind of prepared to see her again, even though it's on record that I've made a complaint about her and she knows about it. I think the suggestion or the question came from her was, would I feel more comfortable with somebody else? I don't know why, but I just kind of wanted to be in the same room with her again. Not so I could like berate her, but I think just to I think I wanted to see if she's just like that all the time, or was it circumstantial? However, after some discussion with my midwife, she's recommended a different consultant, and apparently her approach is quite different, so we'll see. I'll have to speak to her about an elective cesarean and the risks involved with that at some point. 20-week scan is soon. Will we be finding out the sex of the baby? This is difficult. John wants to keep it a surprise because we've never really done that. I think Ori was our only surprise, and so he wants to wait until the very end. I know he really wants a girl. I think I would be happy to know in a couple of weeks what we're having. My suspicions are it's another girl. I don't know. I think we just when we were talking about another baby, like we say it would be really lovely to have another girl. Maybe we kind of manifested that. I have no idea. But he doesn't want to know. I'm open to knowing, but I just don't know if I could keep that kind of a secret from him for the rest of the pregnancy. And how would I not let on? And if it was like, I know it's a girl and I know he wants a girl, like, does he still want that to be a surprise? I think he's a little bit nervous about it being a boy because he really wants another girl. Whereas, for dads, they don't have this whole physical thing going on the whole time. They don't get this experience. So for them, it's very much about when their baby is handed to them for the first time and they get that skin to skin contact and they see their face and they hold this little person. I think that's when a lot of the bonding happens for dads. So I don't know. He doesn't want to know. I kind of want to know. He says I can find out if I want to. I don't know if I could do that. Could you do that? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that you could do this? Or did you do this? Did one of you know and the other person didn't? How did it go? I think we have to be in it together. We either both know or we both don't know. And it's a surprise for both of us. Yeah. I'm happy with either. I would really love another girl, and it would be very convenient because we've got so much girl stuff. But I'm happy to have another boy as well. I love my boys. As a result of this pregnancy, we had talked about it a lot previously, but now John is officially on the waiting list for a vasectomy, and I have brought up the possibility, if I have a cesarean, I've brought up the possibility of actually having my tubes tied as well. So we would be definitely drawing a line in the sand and not having any more babies beyond this point. It just feels right for us at this point in our lives. We're in our mid-30s. We've had quite a few children. We have a 15-year age gap between our first and this one. And we just want to be done. We just want to be done. So all being well with this one, we will probably be finally closing that door. Have I felt any movement yet? Well, I think so. But my placenta is on the front this time, so it makes it harder for me to feel movement the same as I did before. However, I will say that I have had a lot of kind of like downward, very like low feelings. So sort of like maybe like my placenta's like here and like the baby's kind of kicking. I think the baby is feet down at the moment, and so they kick downwards a lot. And that is a very familiar feeling that I've had with other pregnancies. So pretty sure I am feeling some movement. I have also heard the heartbeat, and that's always magical. And the ultrasound, the 12-week ultrasound was also kind of magical. I mean, I had very mixed feelings, but you know, when you see them like moving around and they already seem to have their own little character, and this baby looks like one of ours already. Like, I know it sounds like, well, duh, but you know, just even when they were so big, you know, this baby looked like one of ours, and I think I'm starting to feel excited now. Okay, so I think that brings everybody up to speed. I can show the bump quickly. 18-week bump. This is the bump. My hernia coming out there. Thanks so much for tuning into this. I am probably going to do these every month or so, maybe if at all, and I'll keep you guys updated just like I used to all those years ago with pregnancy updates. So I'll be back for another one really soon, and look out for my other content that's going to be coming out in between then and now. Okay, thanks very much guys. Bye.